has made her triumphant and destructive return this year. As the daughter of Darkseid, prophesies to basically end the world, we should expect nothing less. Her moment was probably the Darkseid War from Justice League Volume 2. She nearly destroyed the team. She was literally named the goddess of anti-life. Not even her own family is safe. After the death of her father, she kidnapped someone's super baby and made said baby absorb a bunch of powers, also making that baby's growth accelerate, turning them into the new Darkseid mid-battle, a Darkseid that was 100% under her control. The fight only ended when Grail opened her eyes, blasting through her mom and her dad, creating a huge explosion. It looked like she was gone forever, however that was not the case. Turns out she just went to some underground cave with her baby father and is now raising him down there until he's ready to break stuff again. She is actively speeding up his growth by attacking and ending the children of Zeus, so she's evil through and through. Another villain that has had a bit of a comeback this year is Varney. Varney is thought to be the first ever vampire in history, being turned into one in a ritual performed by Atlantean sorcerers about 70,000 years before Jesus. He also has the usual vampire powers, strength and speed, etc., but also a healing factor, telepathy, shape-shifting, magic, dark force manipulation, and more. In Time Spirits 4, Varney asked the Crystal Skull, the thing that is supposed to be the truth of man, if he was pure evil, and the answer was yes! It was also confirmed in this comic that the only way there will be an end to Varney is if he chooses it, so he is pretty much all-powerful, aside from all the regular vampire weaknesses, of course. For a long time, Varney was vulnerable to sunlight and silver and religious symbols of gods that only existed when he was turned into a vampire, so like crosses wouldn't do anything. The bad news is, when Varney possessed Blade in the recent Blood Hunt story, he lost all these weaknesses. He was only able to be defeated after a long battle against the Avengers and being attacked by a member of Blade's bloodline and someone of his own bloodline. So this next villain has quite the name, so please be prepared. Boss Glitter was the main antagonist of the forgotten DC series about the Heckler. Don't let the ridiculous name fool you. Boss Glitter is a ruthless mob boss. He just happens to have a little bit of flair. He uses old Mardi Gras masks to hide his face, and he controls the city by planting just like a bunch of lieutenants that manage different parts of it for him. The problem is, the Heckler keeps defeating those lieutenants and throwing them in jail, so naturally Boss Glitter wants the Heckler to heckle no more. When his lieutenants fail to end his comedy act, Boss Glitter takes matters into his own hands, and this is a great example of being ruthless with a dramatic flair. Glitter sends a bouquet of flowers to Heckler, who is in the hospital, but with a bomb in them. The Heckler does still survive though, and we don't hear from Boss Glitter anymore because the comics had bad sales, so the whole series was cancelled. But Boss Glitter, he does now live in my head, rent-free. Up next is ironically Overshadow. Barely anyone knows who he is or have forgotten about the villain, and yet he might be one of the most powerful villains Marvel has ever created. Overshadow got his powers from the White Event, and because Philip Nolan Voight was climbing a mountain while it happened and was therefore closest to space, he got the most power. He is able to replicate the powers of any paranormal he encounters. Not only that, but he gets to keep the powers after replication. And not only that, but he can then magnify them. The only power he could not replicate, which ended up being his undoing, was the powers of the Star Brand. I think people forget Overshadow simply because the comics he was in weren't very popular as other Marvel stuff, and they were the DP7 comics of Earth 148,611. Spotlight on Graviton. He gained the ability to mentally control gravity after a failed teleportation experiment. At first, when Graviton started being evil, no one really knew because his lab was in the Canadian Rockies, but then someone sent a distress signal to the Avengers, so they got involved. The Avengers thought this was going to be a really easy win for them. The guy was just a human, right? Wrong. Graviton literally threw the Avengers around and won the fight. He ended up destroying himself by making a building collapse on him, and it would take a while before he was able to separate all the atoms again. After that, he had amnesia, but eventually returned to a life of crime. Deadringer can take on the form of any dead body he touches, and it's a lot more useful and can cause way more problems than you might think. Deadringer is a mutant. His mimicking abilities are not reserved for people, you can also mimic animals. He discovered his abilities by touching his deceased cat and then father, which is traumatic. Choosing to use his powers for evil, he started to remove pieces of heroes from their graves, because when he touches a deceased super person, he gets their powers. Deadringer is limited to one person at a time, and if he wants to revisit the body of someone, he has to touch them again. And that is hard when you take decaying into account. A major inconvenience. Deadringer's most famous battle was when he and his partner, Super Patriot, became Porcupine and Captain America to destroy Cap's reputation. The two staged a fight at a charity gala and deliberately hurt the crowd. The pair were eventually arrested. Sticks and Stones have very different origin stories, but are now connected for life. Sticks was originally homeless, and Stone was on a team of scientists doing experimental cancer research. The team of scientists were offering compensation for anyone willing to be experimented on, so Sticks signed up. Stone thought that someone could become immune to cancer the same way you can become immune to snake bites. Of course, he did run the test on Sticks, and of course, it ended in the worst way. Sticks became a walking cancer, decaying any organic matter he comes in contact with. Awful outcome, but at least Stone's theory was right. Sticks was immune to cancer himself. Stone felt really bad about this and vowed to find a cure for Sticks. Somewhere along the way, we actually don't know how it happened, but Stone turned into a big stone monster, and with that, he gained the ability to decay any inorganic matter. One hero that did fight them that I think was a worthy match was Deadpool. Bloodshadow is a very cool villain that I don't want to meet, but I do think they should bring back. He was known for facing off against Wolverine. Bloodshadow was capable of telepathy and a trained martial artist. He is also very familiar with the human body. He knew all its deadly pressure points like the back of his hand. He combined this trio of skills into an interesting fighting style. He would use his telepathy to determine an opponent's next move, his martial arts training to counter it, and his knowledge of the human body to determine which deadly pressure points would be exposed so he could hit them. The man was clearly incredibly intelligent. He won most of his fights quickly and without any harm done to him using his unique method. Unfortunately for Bloodshadow, his telepathy was a bit too powerful in a fight with Wolverine, and he accidentally unlocked Wolverine's base feral animalistic instincts. No one can survive those, not even Bloodshadow. I would love to see him brought back though to fight against other Marvel heroes, just to see what happens. Up next is the Sphinx. He started out as a simple wizard, but then became wielder of the Cause Stone and eventually a cosmic class threat. After finding the Cause Stone, it quickly attached itself to his forehead, and it came with a long list of pretty cool powers, including immortality, telepathy, flight, teleportation, illusion creation, and more. One of his underutilized powers is his ability to alter reality. He usually keeps it on the less dramatic side, but could cause some real problems if he wanted to. Sphinx eventually grew tired of being immortal and decided to search for a way to get the stone off. He did so in a manner that gained the attention of the Fantastic Four, now dead set on stopping him. They called in Galactus, who defeated Sphinx, stripping him of his power, then sent him back in time in a time loop to live his life again and again. However, they forgot that Sphinx already existed at that time, so now there were two. Together they developed a way to prevent his future fate, and he almost succeeded. He lived on and continued being the worst. When I came across Creed Harley Quinn, or Hyena, in my research for this video, I literally thought to myself, oh yeah, he's going in, he sounds like a total nightmare. We all know Sabretooth, the thorn in Wolverine's side. We all know the Joker, Batman's permanent headache. In a burst of creativity, Marvel and DC decided to combine these two to create the most unhinged creature on the planet. Hyena has all the powers of the two villains, plus he also just looks creepy. Sabretooth on his own is insane, but Joker is on another level when it comes to lack of mental sanity. The two literally took the worst, or I guess the best, of the other in this Frankenstein tale. So Marvel and DC had no choice but to combine Batman and Wolverine, creating Darkclaw. At least we can all sleep soundly knowing that someone capable enough is out there to stop Hyena from ending his universe. Hopefully people will start talking about this crossover again, because it would be pretty cool, and it's hard to believe it faded into obscurity. But what do you think? Let us know. Bye!